Hey, Browns fans, Baker Mayfield, with an added 17-game season, he's on pace to have 9 TDs and 9 interceptions at the end of the year. Oh my God, is he looking? Is that franchisable to you? Is that a franchise quarterback? 9 TDs and 9 interceptions. He played horrible this week. And Browns fans get all sensitive when you make fun of Baker Mayfield. You can't do that. Well, he's going to bounce back next week in San Diego. What makes you think so? He played like shit last week. He didn't play bad. Oh, he missed 2 wide open TDs last week. He didn't play good. But you know what he did last week? He had the audacity to come out in this press conference, and he made sure he emphasized on adding Kanye West lyrics into his presser and sounded like a goddamn child. Baker Mayfield is a fucking child. I mean, who the fuck adds... See, here's the difference between Joe Burrow and Baker Mayfield. One of the differences, besides Burrow being better, they're both nerds. Burrow realizes he's a nerd. Baker doesn't. I mean, I'm just embarrassed for Baker. When I seen that last week, I was like, what the fuck? This guy plays one of the worst games of his career, and you can't tell me he played good last week. He played horrible. And he has the audacity to make it all about his Kanye West rap song so we can get some little kids in the fucking YouTube or whatever. Oh, Baker's a good So Baker today, let's look at him. First off, let's look at Baker last week. He missed 2 wide open receivers. He played like shit. We're lucky we played the fucking Justin Fields. And let's be honest about it. Let's call a spade a spade. You actually think he was trying to throw the ball out of bounds against KC? He wasn't trying to throw the ball out of bounds. He made another dumb decision with the game on the line. But let's look at Baker Mayfield today. First off, I want to criticize a guy who I've been criticizing for the last year, and everyone thinks I'm nuts. Kevin Stefanski's play calling was absolutely ridiculous. It was atrocious from the get-go. I don't understand how a guy can call such a good game against the Chiefs. And then, when the game got on the line late in the game, he got real tight like he always does. But then he comes out today and he just calls the worst game I've ever seen. What the fuck was he doing? When he should have passed, he ran. When he should have ran, he passed. The guy, I love him going for it on 4th down. I'm not going to lie. But his play calling was fucking terrible. There's no quarterback in the league that can get in the rhythm. And even Mayfield alluded to it today. He needs to get in a rhythm. You can't get in a rhythm when you're forced to be a game manager like Mayfield is. Mayfield has been forced into the game manager mode by Kevin Stefanski, and that's a fact. He's a game manager all day long because Kevin Stefanski said so. That's how Kevin is. Kevin wants to be the genius. He's the smartest guy in the fucking room. And that's the honest God truth. If you look at the play call Stefanski had today, it was absolutely horrible. Hey, we got an interception by Greedy Williams late in the game with like 1:15 left or something like that. We got a big first down over the middle, like 20-yard pass to Odell Beckham. And then we act like we're down 7 points. We're throwing the ball when we should have been running the ball, making them burn their timeouts, get a first down, game over. But we're throwing the ball like we're down 7. I didn't understand that at all. I truly didn't. I don't understand what this Stefanski does. I hate him calling plays. I've always said this team never looked better than when Alex Van Pelt was calling plays last year when Kevin had fucking COVID sitting in his fucking basement. If I'm Baker Mayfield, he's played horrible the last 2 weeks. I'm not going to lie to you. He played great against KC. I'm trying to think, what was it, the Houston game? I forget what he played like. Oh, he had that interception where he hurt his shoulder. Oh, and by the way, it's not his shoulder that caused him to throw these or play bad today. He even said so. Has nothing to do with it. He's just throwing high. He's not accurate. And it's never been a problem with Mayfield. But it's like he's not settled down. He needs to get in a rhythm and a groove, and that's on Stefanski. You ever hear about people always saying you got to get your quarterback in a rhythm with easy throws? That's what Stefanski needs to do, but he doesn't do it. So I don't actually blame Mayfield. And I will say this for Mayfield. If I was Mayfield right now, would you want to play for a team that makes you into a game manager? Mayfield was never a game manager in college. You spread them out. That's what they did. But they turned him into a game manager. And I'm not so sure as long as we win the Super Bowl, I don't give a fuck what he does. But I do not see us winning the Super Bowl the way Baker Mayfield played today. In fact, if Baker Mayfield plays like he did today, if he plays like he did last week against San Diego next week, we're not going to win the game because our defense can only sustain so much. Oh, by the way, that defense, I thought just because we played Justin Fields, that's why that defense looked good. I figured we played Justin Fields, a guy who should still be in college. That's why it looked good. Boy, was I wrong. That defense actually played better today than it did last week because everyone thinks Kirk Cousins is a game manager. Kirk Cousins is a great quarterback. Not good. He's a great quarterback. But he didn't look good today. You know why? That defense was after him and they were fucking ball hawking. They only had 1 interception, but they were physical. They were hitting. They were attacking the ball. They were attacking the spots where he was throwing to. They played better today with less statistics than they played last week because Kirk Cousins is a viable NFL quarterback. That defense is scary. It really is. They're getting pressure on the quarterback now. And Joe Woods, that first drive, he made adjustments. I like when he blitzes. When he blitzes, it causes problems. We got lucky today because our defense bailed us out. But Mayfield played terrible. And partly the blame is Stefanski because his play calling, you really can't get in a rhythm as a quarterback. So I will blame him for this. I was saying the first half was the worst play calling I've ever seen in my life. And then the second half happened. And that was actually worse than the first half because we got like 4 possessions in a row and we didn't do a damn thing with it. We got a few first downs, but it just didn't make sense. And there was one play in particular where Mayfield tried being a hero. I know he's seen Felton right to his right in the flat. And instead of throwing to him, he tried cutting upfield, making a first down, proving to everybody that he's a runner. No, Mayfield, you're slow as molasses. You look like syrup that's been sitting in the fucking freezer for 8 hours, going on a fucking tray. You're fucking slow. Should have passed to Felton, whatever the fuck his name is in the flat. Also, the throw he missed to Beckham, that would have sealed the deal at the end of the game. You can't miss that throw. You got to make that. And you were high all game. You made a few good throws, but you missed Hooper high. You missed Kareem Hunt. Now, that was a tough throw, but still, you missed him. And you got to play better. And I do believe he will play better. But if he plays this way next week in the first half, you might want to think about bringing Case Daniel Keenum in because you can't play this way in the first half next week. You can't. You gotta play better. You got to play better. And Stefanski even said in the press conference that he's got to do a better job of getting his players open. Stefanski even said that he struggled today play calling. So so I want to ask you this question, Kevin. You struggled today play calling. Why must you call plays? I realize you're the head coach. You're driving the bus, as Hugh Jackson said. But why are you the play caller? Why wouldn't you give it to Alex Van Pelt, who was a quarterback, who knows how to get a quarterback in rhythm? Why the fuck do you have to be calling plays? You know why? Because you got a fucking ego. You're a fucking egomaniac. There's a reason. Think about it. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, why aren't they in the backfield at any given time in the game? What the fuck are you waiting for? Wouldn't that be great? You got both running backs in the backfield. Who are you going to cover? But no, it's too obvious. Kevin didn't think of it. There's some things Kevin Stefanski is the most frustrating play caller I've ever seen. It's just, the guy doesn't make sense. Remember last year's game against the Jets when he threw the ball fucking 85 fucking times when we were missing all our receivers? The guy doesn't make sense. Now this goes back to the last playoff game against Pittsburgh. We never looked better as an offense all year. That's because Alex Van Pelt, a former quarterback, was calling plays. And I remember when Alex Van Pelt left Green Bay, Aaron Rodgers was pissed because he knows Alex Van Pelt is a beast play caller. So, yeah, I'm down on Mayfield, and I have every right to be. He played horrible last week, and he played even worse this week. In fact, this was the worst I've ever seen him. This was one of the worst games. You know what this reminded me of? He reminded me of Josh Allen, the first game of the season against Buffalo, or against Pittsburgh when they lost the game. But see, the difference between Cleveland and Buffalo is we're a better team. You know why? Because we played a better opponent, Minnesota, than Buffalo did, and Buffalo lost at home against Pittsburgh when Josh Allen played terrible. Baker Mayfield played terrible, and we won the game because our defense is better. We're a better team than Buffalo. But Mayfield has to prove it next week against San Diego. He has to go in there, and Stefanski has to take part, get him in rhythm early, and figure out a game plan. You can't just have the guy hand the ball off fucking 35 times in a row. You got to give him. There was one time in the game where I counted 5 straight handoffs by Stefanski. 5 straight fucking handoffs in this day and age of football. Can't have it. So Browns fans, you got to accept the facts. Your quarterback played like shit 2 weeks in a row, but he had the audacity to sit there and emphasize putting Kanye West rap lyrics in his presser like he's a little fucking child. I'm going to call him out on it. I meant to call him out last week, but I said I'll give him another week to prove himself. And boy, did he disappoint. If we would have lost that game, it would have been a season ender, and I'll tell you why. That defense was fucking livid. You could tell they were livid. They were gassed. They put their fucking heart into that game. They played better than I ever seen a defense play in a long time. They shut Kirk Cousins down when they had to, 3 and out many a times, multiple times, and they stopped them when they had to, and Baker Mayfield didn't do nothing to help them. I'll give him credit. He took ownership of it. He said he played terrible. He said it won't happen again. I hope he's right. And Odell Beckham, let me address Odell Beckham real fast. Listen, I don't care what anyone says. We don't need him. You can say, oh, he stretches the field. We don't need him. Our quarterback couldn't get him the ball today. DPJ doesn't get any action thrown to him. I mean, we got receivers, all right? We got receivers. It'd be nice if we could use Beckham the way he should be used. And what that means is we can get a quarterback that can coexist with them. But for some reason, Baker Mayfield cannot coexist with Beckham because for some reason, when Beckham's on the field with Baker Mayfield, he just doesn't play good. That's just my fact opinion. Baker Mayfield does not look good on the same. I don't get it. I don't know. I thought it was because Baker's got the little brother attitude. I don't get it. He just does not play. He's not forcing the ball to Beckham no more. But his game went downhill with Beckham. He's not accurate no more. This guy played great against KC, although he did throw the interception in the game. He actually threw the ball. You know what he threw the ball like today? Lamar Jackson. You know how Lamar Jackson overthrows his receivers all the time? That's what Baker Mayfield looked like today. And I expect more out of a number 1 draft pick. I expect more out of a quarterback in this league. Baker played like Lamar Jackson throwing the ball today. He played horrible. And we can't have that if we're going to beat Los Angeles next week. Do I think we can beat Los Angeles next week? If Baker Mayfield shows up, and that's another thing, Kevin Stefanski, you called a pretty good game the first game of the season. Where was that at? Why'd you struggle today? And how about the 2-point conversion? You gave the ball to a fullback. He passed the fullback coming out of the flat, whatever. Why didn't we run that on 3rd down, 2nd down? Where was that at? I mean, what the fuck is wrong with you? I hate Stefanski. I hate his play calling. I like him as a head coach. I don't like his play calling. I really believe Stefanski's sabotaging Baker Mayfield. My buddy claims Stefanski don't like him. I kind of think he does because he did not get him, and he didn't do him any favors today. You got to get your quarterback in rhythm, and Stefanski did not do that. His play calling was the worst play calling I've ever seen by a team that actually won a game. I don't know how they won that game. Well, I know how they won it. Their defense is unbelievable right now. But I've never seen a poor play call in my life, the whole game. I thought the first half was bad. The second half was even worse. So, Stefanski, you got to look in the mirror. It may be time to say, you know what? Let me alleviate some of the stress off my plate. Alex Van Pelt is a better game. He's a better play call than you. You just got to accept it. He's better. I remember last year the Steelers started making the game a little bit close. Guess what Alex Van Pelt did? He put his foot on their necks, and he ended it. You didn't do that against Dallas, we almost lost. You didn't do that against Tennessee, and we almost lost. You didn't do that against another opponent, we almost lost. You didn't learn from any of it. And then last year in the playoff game, the last 2 possessions we got in that playoff game, everything was dink and dunk underneath. Run, pass, run, pass. It's embarrassing. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. So I hope Kevin Stefanski realizes this and gives up play calling. Because Baker Mayfield, you got to get him in rhythm. You got to. Quarterbacks want to be in rhythm. They don't want to just be a game manager. And right now, Kevin Stefanski turned Baker Mayfield into the ultimate game manager. And he actually is making him look bad. And I could care less if Mayfield sucks. If we're winning, I could care less. But at some point in time, we're going to have a quarterback win a game for us. And I've seen Mayfield do that about 3 times last year or whatever. I've seen him do it at least 5 or 6 times in his career, bring us back. He did his rookie year 3 times against Denver, Buffalo, or the Jets, and Buffalo. So don't tell me he can't do it. He can do it. But Kevin Stefanski's preventing it from happening. And we can't have a quarterback with 2 touchdown passes after 4 games. That's not acceptable. We're 3-1, yes. I want to be 3-1, but our quarterback should play a lot better than that. So Browns fans, don't get so sensitive when people, hey, there's a reason why these national media members are clowning on Baker Mayfield. He's not playing good. He just isn't doing it. He's not cutting it.